And you said you're committed to creating a safer, more equitable city. A lot of people are concerned about the crime in Milwaukee. We've had a number of shootings recently. We've had the Kia boys over the last few years come on the scene. Can you speak to some of the initiatives that you're working on and how they're going?
Sure. And I think it's important for folks to know this. We don't get enough of this from traditional media, and I wish that that was not the case. But the fact of the matter is that in the one solid year that I've been mayor, in 2022, and I'm not trying to jinx anything, I think we've been like very, very focused, working with all of our partners in police, other areas of law enforcement, violence prevention, with the nonprofit sector, certainly with the private sector, to grow jobs and opportunity. Crime has actually dropped in Milwaukee. In 2022, crime in Milwaukee was down about 15%. And violent crime was down some 7%. And here in 2023, those trends continue. And those are good things. And I think that there are a number of factors as to why that's the case. One, we're working at growing family supporting jobs in Milwaukee. Years ago, if you rewind the tape back 50 years, we used to have the highest quality of life for African Americans in the United States, right here in Milwaukee. Right? Why? Is because folks had access to good paying, family supporting jobs to help them to take care of themselves, take care of their families, buy a home. So they're stabilizing forces in those neighborhoods. And if you have that stability in somebody's home and in somebody's family and in the neighborhoods, then that's how you get to a safer city overall, because the neighborhoods become familial when you get to a critical mass of that. So we got a real focus on working with the private sector to grow jobs. We've been working with the police department to do a number of things. We launched a traffic safety unit that goes after folks who are disregarding traffic law. We've implemented new policies to allow the police to go after folks who are driving recklessly, to actually tow those vehicles away. So we're doing that. We're working with our Department of Public Works to install improvements to the roadway, shrinking down some of the lanes, installing protected bike lane facilities throughout the city, which makes traversing the city safer for those folks, but then also puts an additional barrier in the way for folks who attempt to drive recklessly. We've got pinned on curb extensions that are out there as well. We're working with our partners in violence prevention. We just celebrated a Peace Week just last week, where we had dozens and dozens of groups coming out to celebrate all the events that we're doing. So we're doing a lot of things to improve safety in Milwaukee, from the private sector growing jobs point of view, from the position of law enforcement, from the position of violence prevention, from the nonprofit sector. I mean, even our initiative to invest millions of dollars from the American Rescue Plan Act that we were given by President Joe Biden's administration into city-owned tax foreclosed homes, where we fix those properties up. We sell them to owner occupants who are going to be those stabilizing forces in the neighborhoods I was just talking about. And that helps to make neighborhoods stronger and more stable as well. So multi-pronged approach. And I think from what we've seen, it is working, because crime has dropped and those trends continue even into this year.
Yeah, I was listening to a different podcast you were on. You talked about, I believe, Camp Rise as well, where you took inner city kids and gave them jobs, and which prevented them from being recruited into the Kia boys for the most part, and gave them experience in the workforce as well, and put a couple hundred kids through that last summer.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. When I leave this office at some point in the future, again, we got long-serving mayors in Milwaukee, but at some point when that does happen, I'll be able to look back at Camp Rise, and I think that'll be the thing that I'm most proud about, because we use the experience that I had growing up in those YMCA programs I talked about, and got those kids who otherwise would have been recruited into going to the Kia boys and stuff like that, and put them on a better path forward, giving them the caring adult mentors, giving them a work experience, showing them an honest day's wage for an honest day's work. Milwaukee, I believe, is the only major city in the United States right now that is doing workforce development programming with kids as young as 10. I mean, this is 4 years before they're even able to get a work permit. And we're doing that. And we're making a difference in the lives of those kids. Last year was 200, young boys of color. This year, it's 200 young boys of color. There was a criticism we got last year that there were no opportunities for girls. Now we've added opportunity for 50 girls to join into Camp Rise as well. So phenomenal program. From the initial year, parents who were surveyed, I remember a stat. They said like 91% of the parents who had young people involved said they saw growth in their young men participating in this program. And so very, very proud of that. And our partners at Employ Milwaukee, Shaitania Brown in particular, who's the president and CEO there, that are administering the program.
Hey, I just wanted to thank you for tuning into this clip of Milwaukee Uncut. We'd love it if you took a second to hit the subscribe button and also like this clip. That helps us get more eyes on this show here on YouTube. Thanks again for supporting Milwaukee Uncut.